Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Another big week for Celtic this week. Two massive games. One at Fir Park on Wednesday night in the League Cup, and then we go to Tynecastle at the weekend. So, you know, without Champions League football, still a massive week for Celtic. It might feel weird that we don't have the European games, but you know, we have a chance to be one step closer to silverware. We've got a venue at the weekend, which is always prove a difficult place for Celtic to go. So, aye, might not be Champions League, but still something to look forward to. If you haven't already, please make sure to go down below, hit like and subscribe. It would be much appreciated on the road to 40,000 subscribers. I wanted to start the video though with just something that's made me laugh over the weekend, and that is it's been my villain phase. That I am suddenly in the wrong. And you know what, rightfully so, in the wrong, not disputing that. However, I feel like I just wanted to take this time in my platforms to clarify something. A lot of people mistaken me for having a go at folk for leaving games early, and specifically the Motherwell game on Saturday, when I didn't. Just to clarify, didn't have a go at anybody for leaving the Motherwell game early. However, there was a clip that emerged on Twitter of fans piling out the stadium with about fucking 5-10 minutes to go, I don't know. And below said video, there was a TikTok of me having a go at fans leaving. I just, you know, fair enough, I'm a wanker, I don't really care. I know folk don't like me and all the rest of it. It doesn't really bother me. I don't blame yous because I'm a gimp, right? That's quite plain to see. I'm specky, I do this. It's fine, I understand, don't worry. However, the clip of me having a go was more in relation to fans leaving the game and throwing a tantrum when we went 2-0 down to Leipzig on Tuesday night. I couldn't care less if fans want to leave a game 5-10 minutes early on a Saturday when you're 5-1 up. It doesn't bother me at all. If you want to get to the pub, you want to go catch a bus, whatever, yeah, everybody's got their reasons. I'm not the police. You know, I'm not here to police fans to stay in the stadium. But I feel like that clip was taken very out of context and it was used underneath a tweet, and it made me look as though I was having a go at fans for leaving on Saturday. I don't care. It wouldn't be me personally. I stay to the end. That's fine. That's my choice. Just like everybody has their own choice. But I just wanted to clarify that I was not having a go at folk for leaving the game at Motherwell on Saturday. That wasn't the case. I stand by wholeheartedly the whole rant from the video against Leipzig. I stand by that. Double and doon. I do think that Celtic have lost their touch in Europe. I think Celtic Park has lost their touch in Europe, should I say. I don't think it's the same atmosphere. I think fans are quick to you know, just kind of back down a bit when we're not doing as well. I stand by that. That was my original point. I'm going to stick by my original point. I'm not reversing anything, but just wanted to clarify. You know, you're 5-1 up against Motherwell. You know, I know we won 6-1 in the end, but you know, you're 5-1 up. You want to leave the game? That's fine. Who cares? I don't. I personally don't. It was just more about the European thing and the myth of Celtic Park having this great atmosphere, which I don't feel like many people can dispute nowadays. But I thought I'd start the video with that. Yeah. Right, now that that's out of the way, let's get into talking about Celtic. Let's talk about everything that is in the news, and there's not much in the news, to be quite honest, with Celtic today. There's not too much that's emerged. Of course, we're off the back of that great result on Saturday. Spirits are high, but there's nothing really breaking. A few stories that we're going to talk about, but I wanted to start the video talking about James Forrest, who of course scored that hat-trick against Hibs at the weekend in a fantastic performance, a performance that proves we've still got a very useful player there, and despite a lot of people, including myself, writing him off, he's kind of shut some of us up. Now, will he be able to keep that up throughout the course of the season? That is yet to be seen, but it's a real positive sign for a player who definitely wants to still be a part of this side, and not just any part, a key part. He wants to, you know, chip in as much as he can, and he wants to be involved as much as he can, and that performance at the weekend showed that he can fit into this team and this system, which has always been my major criticism of James Forrest since Ange Postecoglou has came in. I didn't think he was good enough in the first place, and a lot of people are loving that. I'm wrong on that, fair play. But the one thing that really done it for me was I just didn't think he was the type of player who was going to work in this system. I thought it was too intense. I thought he was a bit past it. Maybe go back to James Forrest 5 years ago and yeah, it could have worked. But I thought he was just a little bit past that. I thought his age and his injuries adding up would have... It just kind of halted him from being a real key figure in this side and this type of football we play. But that at the weekend shows that it's not the case. And if given the chance, he can still contribute massively to this team. And it's more of a positive than anything, because it just goes to show again, and we always bang on about depth at Celtic, and we talk about the options that we've got. And I think for a lot of fans, James Forrest wasn't considered a strong enough option. But now, after that performance, and after getting the hat-trick, I think that, you can now look at James Forrest and go, right, if Abada's out, Maida's out, Jota's out, whoever's out on those wings, we have got a player who can come on and still score goals for Celtic, score hat-tricks for Celtic. So it's a massive statement performance from him in the weekend, and it's raised a lot of great stats, a lot of great points, and raised a lot of good questions as well in terms of what now Forrest does at Celtic and where his place in the pecking order is. Now, I do want Celtic fans to be, cautious of not now lumping expectation onto him and all this sort of, expectancy of him being that week after week, because Forrest is the kind of player that, he could go out and have a stinker next week and everybody would be back on his back again. They would all be trying to call for him to be out the team. So I feel like it's about being patient. It's about giving him those chances when they come around, and hopefully him taking those chances. But, with being grounded in what he does. He is a great player. He's been a great servant for Celtic. But when the players are back fit and firing, I think the chances we'll see spread amongst the team. It'll be interesting to see, just as long as fans, keep that sort of patience around them, and that sort of lower expectancy, to see if he can still give us those performances on a more regular basis. And I'm confident that he can do that, judging off the weekend. It's obviously still in his system. It's just about how often we obviously see that. He is most certainly deserving of a spot in the team against Motherwell on Wednesday night. I think that's safe to say. I think that most people would agree with that after the weekend. When someone scores a hat-trick, it's very hard to drop them. And it's very rare that you see them get dropped. And that's obvious that it's got to be the case with Forrest, I think. If the guy is, playing well, scoring hat-tricks and high in confidence, I feel like we need to give him that chance to kind of build on that. Now, that's what I'm talking about, being patient and having expectation levels, because if he goes out and he blanks against Motherwell, then how is the split going to become then in terms of who wants him in the team, who doesn't want him in the team? That's the big question. But I think he's most certainly deserving of a place in the starting 11 against Motherwell. I hope to see him in the starting 11 against Motherwell. Didn't think I'd be saying that this season. I really didn't, but I think it would be unfair if he wasn't in the team. And hopefully he scores more goals. But, we've got options now, and we have still got a player, Jota, for example. He's coming back from an injury. Would it be smart to throw him out there against Motherwell in the Cup? Maybe not. So Forrest now has another platform to go out and start in that team for me. I think it's a certainty for him to be in there Wednesday night. I've got to talk about this absolutely wild stat that emerged after his hat-trick at the weekend. But and amongst that stat, you've got to talk about the importance he's offered Celtic over such a long period of time. The longevity that he's offered Celtic throughout his career is unbelievable. I know he's suffered with a couple of injuries here and there, and obviously there's been problems with inconsistencies, but the commitment he showed to Celtic, the quality to stay at Celtic and do what he does is incredible, and he deserves so much praise for that. He scored his first goal for Celtic in 2010. 2010. It's now 2022, 12 years. I was in primary 6 when that man scored his first goal for Celtic. Primary 6. I'm now in my last year of university. It just shows you how long he's actually been here and how much he's been through as a Celtic player. This was a wild stat that emerged on Twitter at the weekend. Just having a look at it here. Tim Trivia, credit to them. Here's some of James Forrest's teammates from yesterday and how old they were when Jamesy scored his first goal for Celtic. Ralston 10, Vickers 11, Jens, Bernabe and O'Reilly were all 8 years old. Hitati, Maida both at 11. Abada was 7. 7 years. That one also terrifies me because, he's 3 years younger than me, so I hate that. Haksabanovic 9, Giacomakis 14 and Abildgaard 12. Only one of those players that were in the starting 11, bar Joe Hart, of course. Only one of those players that were involved in that or came on the pitch. Only one of them in that were in secondary school when he scored his first goal for Celtic. That is absolutely bizarre to me. And that was Giacomakis. He was 14. Only one of them. I think that is absolutely crazy. And fair play to him. I mean, that is how many straight campaigns? I think it's something like 14 straight campaigns now he's scored in for Celtic, which is just utterly baffling. 100 goals for the club. he does deserve a lot more credit than he gets. And that goes from people like me as well, who I've always been on the fence with Forrest, and sometimes I've been on the negative side of the fence. But, 100 goals, crazy, all those stats there. Yeah, a real kind of modern day Celtic icon, you could say. Anyway, that's that part of the video done. Of course, Wednesday night we take on Motherwell in the Cup in a game that is very, very important for Celtic. It might not be Champions League football, it might not be a European night, but it's certainly one that holds just as much importance as those games do. It really does. We want to win every trophy available. Celtic's still a club and a fan base who like to win everything. It's not like England where the League Cup suddenly doesn't matter. No, it really does matter up here. And, we've seen what that League Cup win done for us last year. I think it created a real kind of trampoline to success, you could say, for this Celtic squad. It gave them the belief that they were winners, they could win trophies, and we went on to win, of course, the league title. It was Ange Postecoglou's first trophy as Celtic manager as well. So Wednesday night is important. It's one step closer to lifting the League Cup again. I think it's really important that we try and retain that trophy and keep it at Celtic Park, But Liel Abada was out speaking about that. Let's have a look at some of his comments. They were in the Record, I believe, this morning. He said, "This is really important because in the Cup, if you lose, you don't get to keep playing. We need to give 100% and 100% focus to do our job. Hopefully we will win and we'll be in the next round because it's very important to keep the trophy." And I think the whole dressing room will be echoing those thoughts and obviously wanting to win that trophy again and keep the silverware, win another medal as well. But it's crazy, we have this cup coming around, and there's so many teams around the world that would look at a competition like this and they'd start going, yeah, big rotation, let's go to Motherwell and play our B team, blah blah blah. But with Celtic, it'll be one of the strongest sides that'll play. I don't know how similar it'll be to the side that played against Hibs at the weekend, but it's certainly going to be a very strong side that play against Motherwell, and hopefully it will take us through to the next round of the Cup. We have got options, and it is a good game to allow maybe some of the players who haven't seen as much football to play. But, that's a good thing with Ange Postecoglou. Most players have had a sufficient amount of football. I think there's a couple of names that, we'd like to see more of. Ideguchi, Abildgaard, for example. But their time will come. They'll get minutes at points of the game. But to start the game, it's going to be a very strong side. It should be a very strong side that take on Motherwell. Talking about depth, Liel Abada touched on that as well. He said we have a very good squad full of very good players. Every player in the team could be in the lineup. One game I'll score, one game Jamesy will score, and one game Dyson will score. Giacomakis, Kyogo, Haxa. It's really good because that is our job. So, Liel touching on the fact, you'll read through all those names, and it doesn't feel like you're resting players or rotating for the sake of it because it's a cup game. You're bringing players in because they're good enough to be in the starting lineup every single week. Great position we find ourselves in, but Wednesday night, important game. Hopefully we get through, and Hampden trips are coming very soon, hopefully. And finally, the last bit of news to talk about today was another one that was broke by the Record yesterday, one that I'd say take with a pinch of salt, but it's in relation to the staff at Celtic Park, and we might be recruiting another member of staff in the coming weeks. Steve Hitchen is set to join Celtic, claims the Record. Former Tottenham Hotspur, Everton, I think, Liverpool as well at a time. Transfer guru, the Record are dubbing him. He's an ex-director of football and scout, and apparently he was watching Celtic last week, and apparently he could be working with Ange Postecoglou in an advisory role, we are hearing, in regards to the transfer department. Now, I had never heard of Steve Hitchen before. Not going to sit here and pretend I did. But, according to the same article, he was responsible for the recruitment of Luka Modric to Tottenham Hotspur, Luis Suarez to Liverpool, credited with them. And, if he wants to come up to Celtic and help with the transfer department, I would say he's more than welcome. Find us a Luka Modric, please. And we can clap our own Modric off the park. Woo! Right, that's about it for today. A few stories, obviously, to talk about. Nothing huge. And we await, obviously, Wednesday night's game, which will be a fun watch, I imagine. But yeah, that'll do it for today. Thanks, everybody, for coming out. Like and subscribe if you've enjoyed the video. And yeah, I'll see you all next time.